Anyway, she has like a little connection with him, but they ain't doing nothing in that tent. They're just kind of. I think they make kiss in that tent. That's it. Um, and then we had next episode. We had into bonfires where it starts off with the men. Brion's up first, and he sees. No. Where we're headed into. Let's see. No, yeah, Brion's up first where he watches Shantae crying. He witnesses Shantae crying when the light goes off at their house because again she was freaking out thinking she hopes that that's not him. And that basically is all he saw for Shantae. Um, uh, Let me hold on, pause this real quick because something's wrong. Yeah, so episode is off with Ashley, and Brian, I believe his name is, going into the tent. They ain't really doing nothing. Ashley is not really ready for a whole lot of sexual interaction. She more so is setting off the tent and hoping that Grant sees that. And that goes into the manipulative thing you were talking about. So that's really why she kind of went in the tent. But I think she did kiss old boy in there, but that's it. And then we head into the next episode and they start off at the bonfire where Brion is watching Shantae break down in her bed because the light went off at their house because somebody at his house went in the tent and she's freaking out saying she hopes that that's not him. So he's witnessing her like break down. And when I tell you, and I don't know if you even saw that part, I don't think you did. He had zero emotion. It was almost like,
he knew her reaction was going to be.
yeah, but it kind of came off a little cold to me. Like he didn't. I get that, but again, you love this person, you don't want to see them hurt
No,
like
no,
that.
no. I don't think
And it was just very. It was cold to me the way his act reaction was to that. He ends up saying that. So the host asked him, "So what? How you feel about that?" And he was like, "Yeah, she was crying about the light." And he was like, "And although I wasn't in the tent," he literally says, "Although I wasn't in the tent, I was having a threesome, right?" And straight face, he's like, "I don't really know how she's gonna react to that." And I think the host questions like what he thinks Shantae might do when he sees that, and he tells the host that he does not have any regrets, and that he feels like Shantae is the type of woman that will forgive him, and even with him doing that, will forgive him because that makes her a good woman. That was triggering for me.
That's because I did not. She allowed him the confidence to be able to say that.
Yeah,
like you can tell they've been through stuff where she's allowed him
yeah,
that space to be able to confidently say what she will want. So that's why
right.
It's sad to see her kind of go through the stuff that she's gone through, but with the way that he handles things and the way that she reacted and his reaction to how she reacts to things, he knew exactly what she was doing. He knew that she, was going to, conduct herself in a certain way in reaction to his actions. So
I just felt like, as a woman watching that, I felt like that was a very warped perspective for him to have, and a very immature perspective for him to sit there and say that she's a good woman because she's going to put up with my shit. Like, that was triggering, I'm sure, for me and for a lot of people, in particular women watching that. Like, that does not make you a good woman because you're going to put up and let somebody treat you and run over you like however they want to. Like, that makes you a doormat, unfortunately. And it takes time for you to come to that conclusion. Like, that's what you're being when you let somebody do that. But that's a whole process in and of itself. Shantae is clearly pretty young. Maybe she just hasn't gotten there yet. Like, as far as like building herself up. Because for a man that she loves to say that in front of people with a straight face, I found that highly disrespectful and immature. Like, that's not being a man, and that's not how you treat the woman you love. Like, it was just cringy, to say the least. It honestly was cringy. And I get, like, that's what she signed up for. Dealing with Brianna, that's what she...
Well, it's not what she signed up for. Dealing with it, that's what she signed up for, what she repeatedly accepted.
When she accepted.
It's not even signing up for it, it's just it's what she's choosing to accept.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So
He also states that she'll be happy to know that he got it out his system, which lends to what Jey is saying, that he believes that Shante knew he would possibly do something like that. And they had that discussion prior, because some of the word choices that he was using was almost indicating that she may have had an inkling that he would do something like that. And that they made an agreement that if he was across that boundary, possibly that she would forgive him, because his thing was, I did it, I got it out of my system, I realized that it's not for me, I don't need it anymore, and all I need is Shante. That's his view on this. And
That's not how that
and the
works.
host literally says to him, well, I hope she buys into that.
Hold on a second.
That's what the host says.
That's not necessarily how that works. Like, for you to have such a craving for something, and then you have that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it, you know. I guess you can. It's like if you go bungee jumping, you're like, okay, I went bungee jumping.
I checked that off my list.
Check it off my list.
Yeah.
But for something that he clearly, and I think at some point you say that he has done before, wanting to do it again. I personally thought the whole point from the initial conversation was to do it with her. This was not with her. Unless you have like a bad experience, you're kind of going to lean on the side that, you know, that's something that you're into, you're going to do again. If you have a bad experience doing something, you'll be like, I'm kind of cool on doing that again. It's out of my system. I tried it. I didn't like it. Cool. You know what I mean? Like, you know, most of the time when people have those experiences where they're like, okay, I got out my system done, it's usually something that, you know, puts your, you know, your virtue to the test, or, you know, it can be like life risking, like bungee jumping, skydiving.
Yeah.
Threesomes are not something that I got out my system. Yeah, that was a great time. Oh, I don't need to do that. You know, no, yes, I do.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the whole, so that was just him saying that for us at home watching it. You know what I'm saying? And the whole point was to have a threesome with your partner. You had a threesome without your partner. When did you really out your system? He probably had the crib, you know what I'm saying? It's the same scenario probably. You know what I mean? Whoever he may be with at this point in time, like, do this because that's his thing. You know? So.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I agree with everything that you're saying. I mean, for the fact that this is not a new experience for Brian. He keeps trying to word it like it is, but this is not a new experience for Brian. You having threesomes is something that you have done and have done a lot of, according to him, out of his mouth. That is what he's into. He said that that's what he does. So this is not a good experience. You literally just did what you normally do when you went on this show, like you said. Now, if he brought her into the thing, right? Like if there was an opportunity where it was like, okay, Shante could join them or something, then yeah, that then makes that threesome a new experience because you're doing it with your partner. But this is something he's already done. So I didn't understand where the itch was coming from, which then makes me think you're going to continue to have that itch. Like he just said, like, right? Because he had already done it. He did it before the island. He did it on the island. Why would he not do it again after the island? Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense what he's saying, you know? So, same episode, Grant watches Ashley. He finds out she's the one that set off the tent. He's kind of his feelings about it, but he ain't that hurt. He's still shaboinking Natalie. And so, I mean, on a regular basis, he's getting ass. So, it's just like, he's kind of like, damn, okay, well, whatever. We get to the bonfire, and this is where Shante actually sees Brian in the whole bathroom scene. And I was shocked at her reaction. You weren't, but I was. Only because when that light went off in that house, she broke down. Okay? But when she saw him come out this bathroom, she didn't cry. And the host was confused. He was like, you sure you all right? Like, that's it? You know, kind of thing. And
sometimes the not knowing is worse than the knowing.
Huh?
Sometimes the not knowing is worse.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So she's like, oh, I heard it. She's like, and then when she's seeing it, she's like, I kind of figured. Like, that's
I see what you're, that was kind of the vibe. Now what she says is shocking to most of us viewers. When she says that if they were in the real world, he wouldn't have done this. Which lends to what Jey is saying about being his babysitter and making excuses for him. And my thing about that is, ma'am, are you on another planet or something? Y'all are on an island. Y'all are still in this world. Y'all are just in a different location. So this says that Brian, depending on where he's at and what settings he is in, he feels like his behavior is appropriate. And you're condoning that by saying he wouldn't have done that if they were in the real world. Which also I'm gonna call bullshit on that too, because I can almost bet money that he probably has crossed the line in the real world before. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that whole, and she was just kind of stark faced. She really didn't. I thought she was in. But like I said, the host was confused too. He was like, "Ma'am."
No, that was like, it was just, he did what she expected him to do, and I think the fact of like the temps, the alarm, she was hope, like pretty much what happened was that was her hope dying essentially.
Right.
I hope that's not him. That Christina was like,
yeah.
You know,
and that's just, I see what you're saying.
So, and trust me, her having that cry when the alarm went off led her to that point, because she probably got in her mind, you know, he probably did with it. And then when she sees, she's like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And whatever mind, you know, whatever.
Or maybe she hoped that he got it out his system, and that they can move on and run and live a happy life. She acting deluded a little bit right now.
No, she clearly has a high amount of, well, not a high amount, but she clearly has just like some, as everybody does in one way or another, has some insecurities. She clearly has some that she needs to figure out, allowing the person to do that for whatever reasons. You know, that's something she got some.
Yeah. So, and Bonfire ends where basically they find out that they get to send a tape to their significant other, send a video to their significant other. We're gonna kind of speed through this. Basically, Ashley did not send Grant a tape. Ashley is over it. She like F him.
Good.
She saw the bathroom scene. She's done. She's done so with Grant. She has the right to be that way. She didn't.
As much as I talk about whatever bathroom scene, she does have a right to have certain, you know, amount of vitriol or whatever towards the situation, whatever. So I do get that. So I won't make it seem like I'm just ranking on this woman for no reason. I do understand. End of the day, regardless, Grant did what he did. Regardless of what she said, he did that. So she has a right to, you know, conduct herself in a certain manner. So I'm not just, you know, dog piling on her or whatever. So I do not just want to be clear about that.
Grant did send Ashley a tape, and in so many words, he kind of low-key blamed Ashley for his behavior. And he told her that he forgives her, and she wishes that he would forgive him for his transgressions or the things that he's done. That tape was it pissed Ashley off, basically, understandably so. And we didn't touch on this earlier. Every time Grant slept with Natalie, he had instant regrets. I called it post-nut clarity. He was basically like, the next day, he's distraught. He's playing guitars in the front yard, writing songs about how he messed up and he's sorry. And again, it's manipulative. He's playing that in front of Natalie, so she walks up and she hears that. It's just a lot going. And for me, I feel like even with Natalie as confident as she seemed as the tempter, I feel like you have some issues too, because to sleep with a man and then he basically be like, it's not a good, as I trying to explain this today, as a woman, that's not a good feeling for a man to say that he regrets sleeping with you.
She did not care about it. I'm gonna tell you exactly my perspective what that was. Grant is doing that because he knows he's being filmed and they try to film him.
Yeah, he wants to show that he's sorry.
Natalie's making sure that she has camera time.
Yeah,
that's all. She just makes sure she has camera.
You know, it's kind of, I don't know. We kind of
okay. So
difference of opinion about. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I definitely think that's what he did, but I also think it does sting. And again, this is like a woman's perspective.
You think this is the first time Natalie done been through that? No, hell no.
No, but she doesn't matter.
She making sure that she got Grant. She listen. Whatever she was doing to Grant after episode 3 or 4, whatever to keep her, whatever they were doing, because I'll tell you this much, they little session sounded boring. At least Brian sounded like he was getting it in, doing his thing. These two are there's a bunch of like that. Like, if you don't take this, that's the whole thing. But we have to cut that the fuck out. But what I'm saying is, she's making sure that she has camera time. She's making sure she got camera time. That's what I feel. Making sure that she's in his face, make sure that she does enough to pull him into her, because at the same time he's going through an emotional thing. Yeah. This whole show is about, emotional manipulation and mental manipulation. It is. So she has to play her role, and she seems like somebody who has been in, I don't know this lady, but she seems like she knows how to do that. So she's gonna make sure that, and she did. She's the one outside of Kay who they did her in. She got the most. They did not. They had the most camera time. So he's sitting up there. That
was so lame though.
She's gonna come up there like, no, cool, you're not gonna do that to me, because that lends to her being more predominant.
And that is what she said. She's like, either you want me or you don't want me, and she was like, grow up, like basically type of thing. So that happened. So, and then Brion and Shante both send tapes to each other, and I'm pretty sure y'all know how this went. Brion telling Shante just what she wants to hear. He loves her. He knows that he made some mistakes. Blase, right? Shante expresses to him how she's disappointed in what he did. That it really hurt her. The thing that hurt her the most is that he said he did not regret what he did. And I can understand that too. Like, not only did you do it, but you were unapologetic about it. Yeah. Like, you were just like, whatever, right? Yeah. And when he stopped me, and Jay said the same thing, when he closed after looking at Shantae's tape, the nigga walked up, rubbed his hands together, chest poked out. Oh, I'm straight. Yeah, she's staying. Yeah. Like, you could tell he knew that she wasn't going nowhere. Yeah. The minute he got up from there, so I thought that was interesting. Leon and Alex, again, we don't talk about them a whole lot. They did a great job. They kept their relationship. They were locked in. Alex sent Leon sent Alex a tape. Alex and Leon, they just basically professing their love for each other, and that they're staying strong for each other. And Leon leaves there and then calls Alex's dad, asks for her hand in marriage, because he already know what he wants. And I thought that was cool too, because, that's that element of family. Like, the fact that he could call her dad like that means that, they have more than just, we're in a relationship. Like, they're locked in for real. The dad and him was chopping it up. Like, they talk all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that does help. I feel like people don't talk about this a lot, but when you have family support, like, that helps a lot in your relationships. Just as if you have family turmoil that interferes in your relationship, that can happen too. But in their case, it looks like dad and him are pretty tight. Yeah, I mean, and he gave his blessing. He had enough respect to. Yeah, he gave his blessing, and he actually took one of the girls from the house to help pick out a ring for Alex. Like, everybody in the house knew that Leon wasn't about that, so yeah. And then Taylor and Tyler, they sent tapes to each other. I think Tyler sent the tape. Yeah. He's talking about he loved her, but yes, he's making a connection with Kay. That's basically what was going on.
Let me talk about Taylor real quick.
Taylor signed that deal.
About Taylor really quick. So I haven't said nothing about her this whole time, because she clearly has some, I understand, part of her issues. She has a lot of it. She seems like she has a lot of stuff she has to overcome. Stuff from her past that bothered her really. But she made a statement that over her life, family, friends, everybody ends up leaving herself, which that happens. You know what I'm saying? We all at some point in time in our life for that. But when you congest it down that, that's the thing. Everybody at some point leaves you. Mm-hmm. Yo, what's going on with you though? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the thing with you to where you can, you can, grow any relationships without some sort of conflict or something to get you in that space. So I at first I kind of seen her as being kind of hostile, but when she said that, it made me understand her hostility. But at the same time, she has some self reflection to do and say,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
maybe. And you were saying maybe it's a certain type of person who come to her life to correct those things, which is true. She has to be, um, she has to be open for that to be able to be, to be accepted and whatnot, because those same things, those same traits, those same methods of how she handles people can push said person away that can do certain things. And that's kind of what I've seen with her. Um, and but at the same time, the person she's dealing with, their whole relationship has certain issues, and that's why I kind of took it outside the scope of just Taylor and Tyler. Her words about how she felt in that situation. Look at yourself a little bit and kind of see maybe there's something that you just need to critique a little bit. Not saying you are the complete problem, but you are part of it.
Right. No, and I agree with that. I think that Taylor is right there though, at the point in her life where she's starting to understand where she's accountable in those things. Like what you were saying, like I was telling you, like sometimes you have to look in the mirror and reevaluate the type of people that you choose to allow in your life, right? Like knowing that this might not be the best situation. Not that Taylor is like a terrible dude, because he doesn't seem like a terrible dude, but the way that she described her past relationships, that might indicate that you kind of choose to have certain types of people in your life and you're not being self-aware of what you need in a relationship and what doesn't work for you. You know what I mean? But I feel like she's in a space, or the show kind of started to teach her that she does need to be more aware of who she chooses to have in her life.
Yeah.
There's a level of accountability that a lot of people don't want to admit to when they continuously deal with trash people. Not that Taylor is one of those trash people, but I'm talking about all the other people that she says has been in and out of her, right?
Yeah, you have to grow. So.
Even the choice to date Taylor, no judgment or anything, but even the choice to date him in the state that he was in was probably not good for her mental, because that's not something that she could handle, because he's available, but he still wasn't necessarily available just yet. And he hadn't really lived life yet. But she was probably excited about meeting him. He was probably super sweet. He seems like a really cool dude. Seems like a nice dude. I could see how they ended up getting together and become, having a relationship. But he probably thought he was ready. He's young.
You always think you're ready when you get out of something.
Yeah.
Some dumb shit.
So, I think it's self-reflection. And again, that's no judgment on her or Taylor. I think that, their way that their story unfolded how it should have, for both of them.
Yeah.
And so to get into that, we'll go into final Bonfire. Who do you want to start with?
You go ahead. You got this. You have more to say.
We'll start with.
I just got something to say about this.
The old Brian. Okay, we'll start with we'll go ahead and start with Brion and Shante. And if you watch our TikToks and whatnot and our shorts, you'll see my opinion on that. That I thought it sounded like Shante was gonna stand on business. At first, she's sitting there. First of all, Brion was crying from the minute he walked out and saw her. The minute he saw her, he broke down crying, okay? And he gave her this bear hug, this really tight bear hug, and she looks like this little person in his arms, and she's like folded all into his arms. And they sit down, and the host says Shante can go first, and she's basically telling him that she needs to choose herself. She feels like she needs to choose herself. Something happens. He starts repeating her words back to her. I've seen that. I've been through that where somebody does that. That's also manipulation. It's like he's kind of like, but I do love you. Like, and oh, you need to choose yourself. Like, it was just really weird. And I could tell like what type of dude Han is. So anyway, that starts getting her. She started getting confused. And she asks, can she walk off the little platform that they're on? And she goes over to the bushes, and there's like a production person over there, and she's sobbing. And the production lady, I was hoping that the production lady would give her some sound advice, but me and Jay were talking about she can't. She just told her to follow her heart. Shante take her ass back over to the platform. And Brian is sitting there just wall-eyed, blank-eyed. And the host is like, what do you want to do? And he starts crying, and he starts saying that he loves her, and he starts then talking about his childhood. He starts talking about the childhood he had and how he wasn't taught how to love and all blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And that was it. It was a wrap. Shante folded completely. And in the end, she said that she would go home with Brian. Her choices were go home with Brian, go home with a new person, or go home by herself. She chose to go home with Brian. They hug. They walk off the platform. Shante does not look happy with her decision. I'm sorry. Her head was down when they were walking off the platform. Her head was down when the producers were saying, how are y'all feeling? Are y'all happy that y'all chose this decision? Shantae's head was down. It just was sad to watch. It was sad to watch. Like, I don't know. But again, those are her life choices, and that's what Shante chose. She chose to go home with Brian.
I think that was I think that's gonna be the ending to them either way.
Oh yeah.
I think that she just wished that he didn't have the threesome.
Yeah, pretty early on, you knew that she wasn't. Unfortunately, she wasn't.
Pretty convenient. Somebody comes in there with a certain issue, and that certain issue is taken care of all that.
Oh no. Yeah. Of course. Then we have Ashley and Grant. Grant sitting out there first. Ashley walks onto the platform. Grant tries to hug her. Ashley said, don't touch me. You missed that part. Ashley said, don't touch me. She gave him the hand. She sat down. She crossed her legs. And what I think Grant was looking at, he had on this low cut top thing. He was just like looking all like, you know, at her and stuff like that. She had her legs crossed. Like, she wasn't there to play games. They did not go home together.
Surprise.
Ashley, there was a surprise in this because Grant was crying and he was like, I think that I need to go home by myself. I need to figure out basically why I behaved the way that I did.
It's not a surprise.
And you're obviously not happy with me, and so I'm gonna go home by myself. Ashley, the host, then asked Ashley, and Ashley said she's gonna go home with the dude that we were talking about earlier that she met up there. And Grant looked like his heart almost jumped out of his chest. He dropped his head. He kind of like got teary-eyed, and he just was like, dang. Because what he said to her was, you're a great woman. I know you're a great woman. Like, anybody would be happy to have you in their life. He did own like what he did, you know. He wasn't like Brian where he was just like, whatever. But he did own what he did. And that was it. That was their ending. Then you have Alex and Leon. Leon, excuse me, I keep calling that man Leon. Leon, you know how that ends. He ends up asking her to marry him. She says yes. They go home together. Taylor and Tyler, they had kind of a heated exchange. Tyler was holding his own. Taylor was saying that, well, he was letting her know that he heard everything that she had to say about him, and that she said he had bitch tendencies and whatnot. And Taylor didn't back down on that. She was like, I did. I did say that, you know, and he was like, and that's fine. And that's why I found another bitch. That's basically so many words what he said to Taylor, that she was like, you're over here lollygagging with Kay and da 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 da. You don't even know her like that. And then when it pans to him to talk, he's like, and I did and do. And I want to be with Kay. Like, he didn't back down about that at all. And that was that. Like, Taylor Taylor said that she was gonna go home alone. She still needed to do some self-reflection because she had connected with a guy named Yemen, which we didn't talk a whole lot about, but he was very supportive, seemed like a nice friend. But she did not go home with him. She went home by herself.
Nice friend.
Well, they didn't cross any lines either. They didn't kiss or anything. They just hung out. So at least we didn't see it. We can only go by what we saw. But oh, actually, you know what? They did kiss. I'm tripping. They did kiss. My bad.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh, in comparison to the guy's house, the whole house over there. But anyway, so Taylor, of course, says that he's gonna go home with Kay. They bring Kay out and they run off into the sunset together. And that is the end of Temptation Island.
It's Temptation Island.
And what a watch. Far better than Love is Blind.
Trash.
I feel like they put all their production and money into Temptation Island. That's why Love is Blind was so trash.
No, just.
You know, it's I thought it was entertaining. I like the subject matters it brought up in relationships and whatnot. You know, things that are complicated in relationships and good points. We had a lot of discussions, him and I, about, you know, just relationship stuff. You know, and what we would do on a show like that and whatnot. So it was entertaining.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But that's the end of our wrap up.
See y'all next season of Temptation Island for sure. Because we will be doing it again. That's what I'm saying.
We will do it again. Please leave your comments. Let us know any other shows you would like us to review or watch. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on every time we post something. Follow us on our social media channels. Right now we have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Yeah. So, just keep